Hyderabad take on Chennai to kick off the second half of the group stage of the Indian T20 League. You're watching Cricket Pundits, and I'm delighted to be given company by Mandira, Lalvani and Ayaz, Memon. Mandira, Ayaz, welcome to another preview.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Brilliant. I think we all know what the next drill is. So Ayaz, why don't you take it away with your analysis, followed by your player picks?
Well, it's a match between two losing teams. Hyderabad lost to Humdinger, a match they should have actually coasted to a win, but they lost that, and that's going to hurt them. Chennai have been struggling. They've been languishing in the bottom. I mean, they're just second from the bottom. So it's not a stage or a state that they're used to being in. Though I must say that, in 2010, around the same stage of the league, they were in exactly the same situation. And guess what? They went on to win the title. So, don't write off Chennai. I've been kind of reminding myself that don't write this team off. What they've got, of course, is a lot of the players who were there. They're there. I mean, Vijay, Dhoni, Jadeja, some of them are there, but they're all 10 years older, and that is beginning to kind of tell on their performances. They're a little long in the tooth, so it means it translates into a little lack of energy, not lack of intent, but certainly lack of energy, and that's really hurting them. So my picks, very quickly, for Chennai, Watson, because without him, the team is really, at least he's giving a decent start now. Dhoni, because he's the captain and he has to take some fundamental decisions, also make a contribution with the bat, fundamental selection decisions. Ravindra Jadeja, I think there's a time, this is the time he has to come into his own, I think, as a bowler. The team needs him more as a bowler than as a batsman. And he has to bowl his 4 overs economically and pick up wickets. Both are important for his team. For the Hyderabad team, David Warner, of course, as batsman and captain. Rashid Khan, he remains the linchpin of the attack. He got collared in his last over in the match, but remember, he gave only 25 runs in 4 overs, so he's still there. He's their main bowler. And then T. Natarajan, I'm very impressed with this young man. He's been, bowling quick. His left arm seam stuff he's very good at the death. Let's not count only the last match, but he's otherwise been very good at the death. So these are my 3 from Hyderabad.
And he's been very impressive with his wide yorkers as well.
That's right. Yeah, he's angling the ball across the batsman and not being called wide so often. That's important.
Brilliant. Mandira, over to you.
All right, thank you very much. As Ayaz said, this is the halfway mark of the tournament, and this is when things are going to get very, very, even more competitive. And I would say, if not already there, it is almost a do-or-die situation for Chennai, which is they're in dire straits. They need to pull themselves out. And what are their options? One, we have the mid-season transfer, the IPL transfer. Is it a time for them to go and bid for somebody like Ajinkya Rahane, who is languishing pretty much in the very, very heavily fortified Delhi attack? He hasn't got so many games so far, so Ajinkya Rahane is a good person they could get on their side. So I'm curious to see whether they take advantage of this lifeline that's been thrown at them. That is one for sure. They need to, even, we've hinted at the experience and politely calling it experience. Dhoni's team is called Dad's Army, not just for nothing, not just by the fans anymore. Stephen Fleming's also hinted at it now. The players are aging, they age. And we saw like a bit of a glance of that when this one, Amati Raidu and Jagdishan's, Raidu got run out because he was taking a double and Raidu was taking the single or whatever. Point is that it is an aging team and that needs to be addressed. The batting needs to be addressed very, very drastically. Meanwhile, in Hyderabad, like I asked that, and I totally concur, I did manage to watch most of that match for a change, was that they lost something that should have been absolutely there for the asking. It was thanks to Yashwatia's and Parag's antics on the other side. But somehow, even, a player like Rashid was starting to look a bit flummoxed, I think Hyderabad also has a lot of pressure. They have not been able to identify the exact role for Kane Williamson. I think that's something to watch out for because Manish Pandey comes in at number 3. And when the opening pair is batting, further down the innings, it leaves Williamson to basically finish. Is that his role and is he a finisher? So I think there are a few issues that need to be addressed. However, evenly pitched as these two teams may be, I think Hyderabad definitely has the upper hand. As far as the players are concerned, for Chennai, definitely Mahendra Singh Dhoni. He is yet to impress with the bat, show everybody what he's, the MS Dhoni. I mean, that name deserves and warrants and demands reckoning. And we need to see some of that. Definitely, I want to see Imran Tahir included. So I'd say Dwayne Bravo / Imran Tahir. I think that would be the change if there was to be made. And I really think it is time for them to make that change. And the third would be Shane Watson. Let's hope he can keep that momentum going. And a strong start is very, very important because as of now, where Chennai is concerned, they've had a sluggish start. The middle order is Dhila and the end to just forget it. So they need to start heavy at the top to have any kind of a chance against Hyderabad. And then Hyderabad, so Rashid Khan for sure, of course, there's no question whatsoever on his prowess and his ability and his guile. But where will he be? How will he be played? How will he be used? Will he be used in the power play or will he come in later? Or how? So one is that for sure. David Warner, I think he's done an incredible job as a captain. And like I said, his role will be, or his focus will be on pulling the youngsters out of that despondency, so to speak. When they let go of a humdinger, there's bound to be repercussions within the side, in the dressing room. And that's when the experience and the youth come in. And that's when the experience gets more important and the leadership becomes that much more important. And the third would be Kane Williamson, to see where he's played and whether he's given more of a role, whether he can, take more responsibility in the side.
Thank you so much, Mandira. Mandira suggested perhaps replacing Dwayne Bravo with someone like an Imran Tahir. Ayaz, you had alluded to the conundrum that Chennai is facing as it pertains to the overseas players. Faf du Plessis in good form, Shane Watson finding form recently. Sam Curran has been pretty prolific throughout the tournament. So would you perhaps experiment with bringing in someone like a Tahir instead of a Dwayne Bravo as well, as Mandira suggested?
Well, I think they have to find a place for him. See what's also happened. Let's look at the trend in the tournament. If you saw Monday's match or Sunday's matches, the spinners are winning matches, including Sunil Narayan started getting wickets. He's been called for action. That's a different matter. But otherwise, it's the spinners who are coming good. Where Chennai have been hurt is that Watson has stopped bowling. Otherwise, he was a batting all-rounder. He used to put in his 2-3 overs and also bat. He was actually a genuine all-rounder. So if you have Watson bowling, and I wonder if they're going to get him to bowl a couple of overs, because that will ease the dilemma for Dhoni. Then it's a choice between who does he leave out, between Sam Curran and Bravo. But at least it creates a road into the team for Imran Tahir. So I think there is a demand for Imran Tahir from the kind of pitches that are being obtained and also the dire states, as Mandira mentioned, that Chennai find themselves in.
Absolutely. Brilliant. Thank you, Ayaz. On to the last segment of the show, the predictions. Mandira, your pick for this contest.
I will go with Hyderabad. They went a bit awry in the last match, but that's nothing to speak of their ability when they're coming together as a very comprehensive side, a very balanced side, and I will pick Hyderabad.
Ayaz?
Yeah, so I mean, look, Hyderabad, they're better off on the points table. That means they have performed better. The youngsters are doing well, which is very important. And I can't spot many youngsters in the Chennai team. So we can't say, let's look at what the youngsters do there. So let's see if they can, write this or deep dive into history and come up with some inspiration. So I'm punting on that. Let's hope that they do. And I'm therefore going to Chennai.
Thank you so much, Ayaz. Thank you so much, Mandira. This was a preview of Hyderabad versus Chennai. Hyderabad certainly with the upper hand, at least on paper, given the better record that they have so far in this edition of the Indian T20 League. But as Ayaz reminded us, Chennai have the big guns, and in 2010, they did come back from a similar position. So you never know what might be on the cards. Thanks so much for having joined us for another episode of Cricket Pundits. And we look forward to your company as we build ahead to Rajasthan versus Delhi. Until next time, stay safe and take care.